Hi y'all, Julia here on this gorgeous Monday, April 18th, 2022, and just enjoying this day. Hope everybody's doing good wherever they are, whatever time of day it is. And I've just been pondering some things about living in a simulation and what Jason at Our Cakes has to say, from what I understand, is basically simulation really isn't our friend too much, as we can tell. It's being controlled by a demiurge, but we are immortal beings, and we're eventually going to get out of here in the year 2178, and that's after a couple of more incarnations for most of us, unless some of you guys figure out how to live really long times, which that's possible too. But yeah, 2178 is a really unique number. Jason talks about that too, how every other number collapses to 9 sometimes first, but always to 0 eventually. That's the only number that doesn't collapse to 0 with some technique they do with palindromes or something. But anyway, so with that being the case, the simulacrum, the simulation, the system, has to follow the law of conservation of energy. And that's why it likes to have everybody doing the same thing, following the same protocols, repeating the same phrases, wearing the same clothes, buying the same products, whatever. It likes all that because that's the path of least resistance. And so when it comes to us manifesting, it wants to keep us there. And when we step out of just going along with the system's flow and get into our own flow, the simulacrum tries to stop that and tries to steer us in other ways that kind of still keep us on the path, but maybe with a little twist here and there, and just try to get us back onto another kind of Groundhog's Day kind of existence, just going through the motions day by day by day, waiting for this life to finish kind of thing. And so the issue is, if we still don't conform and push into one of these other reality bubbles, that's still easy for the simulacrum to not have to exert a lot of energy to keep us going and satisfied. If we keep persisting on our own reality, what we want to manifest, we keep our thoughts and our emotions and our words, and most importantly our actions toward what we want that's outside the norm or whatever, then eventually it'll give in to that, because it's easier to let us go with the flow of what we want than to fight us and resist us the whole time, every step of the way. So the system eventually just gives in, says, okay, well, this is how it's going to be for them. We just let them have what they want, because it's too much energy to not let them have what they want, because they're always going to be pushing and fighting, and again, the path of least resistance. And Ken Wheeler over at Theoria Apophosis, or however you say that, talks, he's the world's foremost expert on magnetism. He talks about how love is like magnetism. It doesn't require any energy, it's self-generating, and it's just easy. It's basically a perpetual motion machine. Whereas evil and control and hate, that all requires energy. So eventually this system can't really keep going because of law of conservation of energy. But that's why the simulacrum does these resets every 138 years. The next one's going to be in 2040. And yeah, it should be real interesting if it plays out the way it's predicted by Jason. And it's not just a prediction out of the air. He's just researched all the patterns in history and all the repeating patterns of major events. And yeah, check out archaics.com and his YouTube channel. Just amazing stuff. But yeah, and it sounds kind of like, oh, that's so grim and that takes God out of the picture if we're in a simulation. But it really doesn't, because we're in a simulation of something. It's simulating something, and that something's pretty magnificent. And just because the demiurge is in charge here doesn't mean there's a universal God out there, outside of the simulation, that's overall. And Jason says the reason the simulation was started was for our ancestors to combine DNA. Well, not our ancestors, but I guess these beings that are kind of they were doing some DNA experiments, and they wanted to do it in a confined Dyson shell kind of environment, so it wouldn't contaminate other parts of existence. So that's why this all started. And then the beings in charge bred with the humans that they were making and created these beings that we're occupying, these avatars that can hold immortal beings that can come through here and experience this existence and learn things. So when we get out of this simulacrum, we're ready for the real place, because if you look at the way humanity is now, they're not ready for real heaven or real earth even. So that's kind of how I understand things with Jason. And if anybody knows more, please correct me, or if I'm getting it wrong, please correct me. But yeah, it's very interesting, and I think it's cool because it's not disempowering at all to me, you know. And Jason's always saying you don't die, you know, you just leave this avatar and come into another one pretty quick too. I mean, people say it's 16 weeks between. Some say more time, some say less time, but yeah, we'll all be here. Maybe unless you're an NPC, we'll all be here in 2040. Maybe not in this avatar, but in another one. And there's something else I just thought of. But maybe this video is already too long. But yeah, so law of conservation of energy, you know, path of least resistance keeps the simulation letting you manifest as long as you're willing to keep your reality bubble going, because just as easy as it's made, it can be evaporated. So you have to keep that passion. And if you think about it in your life, when you have manifested things, you thought about it a lot, you had a lot of passion behind it. Pretty cool how the cloud hangs over the mountain like that. That's the highest point in the Algarve there. But yeah, and I know I talk about manifesting a lot, but that's what life is. You know, if you're not manifesting your reality, then you're living in somebody else's manifestation, and it's much better when you do it yourself. Much better. So, alright guys, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you next time. Ciao, ciao.